Hi folks, welcome to the Pulse of St. Pete's. I'm your host, Brian Lamore. You know, these days we have so many wonderful foods, we're finding that we are becoming overweight, in fact, sometimes obese. And a big concern is our children, because the habits that we learn as children many times carry over into adulthood. So we want to focus on children knowing and being aware of what good nutrition is and have them at the proper weights to start out and for their lifetime. Of course, we have some wonderful guests here today with us. We have Orlinda Worthington, you're the public relations person with St. Pete's Hospital.
Yes.
And Jennifer Colegrove, you're a registered dietitian.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. It's great to have you both here.
Thank you.
Great. And Jennifer, let's start with you. You know, we have terms anymore that are specific. That is overweight and it's obese, and we're seeing that happening in our children. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. They're just different definitions to diagnose, really. So overweight is anything that's over 25%, or a BMI over 25, and then obese would be a BMI over 30. So it's just a way for doctors to specify if someone's overweight. So it's kind of like the warning zone versus obesity, being a little bit more on the severe end of that.
Okay, and what's BMI, body mass index?
Body mass index, yeah. Body mass index is an equation where they calculate their height to their weight and use that to determine if they're overweight, or obese.
And you can probably look that up on the internet, BMI, and you can find out, is it related by age too?
No. Nope, that one is not related by age.
Okay, so you can find out what weight you're supposed to be based on height, right?
Height and weight. And of course it's going to be different it will be different for children, but it's not a different for adults 18 and over.
Okay, well that's really interesting. Yeah. So you're a registered nutritionist with St. Peter's Hospital. So you do counseling for individuals too, right? And how?
Yes.
What are you seeing? What are your clients, I guess, looking like, or what do you counsel them on?
Well, as far as overweight goes, I do see kids all the way from ages 2 up to age 92 on weight issues. So we do see kids for obesity, and often it's a family that comes in together. So we kind of get the family all on the same page as far as what would be healthy choices, so that it's not just the child on a specific diet, which we really don't do diets and restrictions. We teach them how to eat healthy and how to make better food choices and how to use food to nourish their body and not use food for boredom and mindless snacking. And a lot of people use food for stress eating, including children. And so our kids tend to be a little more stressed these days than they were when I was a kid. So we teach them how to use food in an appropriate manner, and their parents too, because sometimes parents will use food also as a babysitter for their children, for something for them to do, which isn't a healthy option either.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that it's important that you counsel the family, and it's important because the parents probably buy the food for the children, so they need to have an awareness. And I imagine if your children are a bit overweight, you're overweight too. So it's a group process in order to counsel them? Right.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to include everybody because the parents are the ones who are providing the food. We say it's pretty much the parents' responsibility for 90% of it up until the child's about 16. Then you lose most of that control over what their choices are. They have cars and they have their own money, a lot of them, and so it's a little bit harder. But you know, it's the parents making the choice to give their child $2 a day to buy something at the snack shack at school, or what type of foods they bring into the house. For them to snack on what's available. It's also having the parents make things really easily accessible, so that chopped up vegetables and fruit might be the first thing when they open the refrigerator door, instead of having just a cabinet that has the cookies and the chips as the first thing that they see when they open the door. So it's about placement and ease. You know, just like for any of us. If it's ready to go and ready to eat, we're more likely to eat it.
Oh, yeah. It's all about strategy.
Right. It is about strategy. Sure.
Well, now, I went through St. Pete's Inch by Inch program, which is designed to help you lose weight. And the big focus many times with people being overweight is diabetes. Is that kind of maybe a first indicator that you see some children that they're diabetic? And how are children becoming diabetic at such a young age?
Right. Well, part of diabetes is due to obesity, and that's just in how the, you know, there's a lot of technical terms with it, but it's basically how the cell will accept insulin, and if the cell's expanded because they've gained weight, it's much harder for it to do that and get the glucose down. So food will impact that, but we don't see a lot of type 2 diabetes, which is due to more obesity issues here, as much as it is, though, an issue nationwide.
Yeah.
Some parts of the country have a lot higher levels of type 2 diabetes in children. And then there's a different type of diabetes called type 1 diabetes, which is a whole different deal, and that's not related to a lifestyle.
Yeah. But I mean, if you have a good lifestyle, it could help, right?
Right. It helps prevent the type 2 diabetes for sure.
Okay. Now, Orlinda, you know, St. Peter's Hospital is putting on a big event. It's called the Family Fun Fest. It's coming up on Saturday, August 8th, and it's designed to educate families, but also to have some fun with it. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all free. The Family Fun Fest is Saturday, August 8th, and it starts about 9 o'clock down at behind the YMCA, the park behind the YMCA, for the fun run. And you don't really have to run. You can certainly walk, and it's open to, you know, kids up through 18 years of age. Parents are encouraged to come with the little kids, obviously. And you can run, you can walk, you can just have fun. And really the purpose is to, you know, encourage healthy habits at a young age, and to let kids realize that exercise can be fun, and it can be really fun to do it with your family. So they run from the YMCA around the soccer field, through the tunnel, and end up at the Great Northern by the carousel and exploration works. We have live music, and every runner gets a backpack with some goodies in there. To get a free t-shirt, you want to register by July 30th, because obviously we have to order those ahead. You can certainly come the day of the race and register, but no guarantees we'll have extra t-shirts. And you want that t-shirt because that gets you free entrance to exploration works and carousel and the YMCA pool for a limited time on that day. So yeah, you want to register your runners by July 30th. And then one of the big hits always there is fire trucks and the ambulance, and kids get to sit in there and, you know, see what those are like. And a lot of fun things, the dunk tanks, the Bighorns hockey team comes and does some hockey with the kids. We'll have an obstacle course from Capital City Health Club, and of course a lot of booths from around the community, different health booths. And Boy Scouts started with us last year, and they have a lot of fun. They do a camping demonstration. Yeah, build fires,
roast marshmallows.
Camping demonstration, that's been very popular, and of course some free healthy snacks, and you know, a lot of fun things.
A lot of fun, and you get some education too. We're tying this into nutrition and exercise. Exercise is I'll say a part of nutrition to stay balanced, right?
Yeah, Jennifer is there with some fun games, and we have free hearing screening, hearing tests for kids. Yeah, and a lot of other things are still in the works, so you can always look at the St. Pete's website for the information and to register. But and a lot of people have been there before. Several hundred kids and people come each year, so it's a lot of fun, and we try and add more to it each year.
If you want to embarrass your kid, you can run with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Remember that should be fun.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about nutrition, Jennifer. And you know, Orlinda was talking about exercise, and I always, well, from what I've learned, you know, nutrition is very important, but an equal component is exercise. And how important is that in controlling our weight, and how often maybe do we have to do that?
Oh, you bet. Exercise is very important, and I recommend exercise every day. I always ask people if they brush their teeth every day, and most people do. And so I always consider some exercise every day as just part of our health hygiene. So it's for everybody. It's not just for people who are overweight or training for an event. It's really for our well-being overall. And again, it's getting families to do it together. It's very hard to send you can't just send your 5-year-old outside and, you know, not play with them or engage with them. And so you can do that in a lot of fun ways. One is finding a lot of the activities at the Family Fun Fest. There'll be all kinds of options for people to see what they can do either with their kids or enroll their kids in. But there are a lot of free things you can do for activities. You can go on a leaf hunt in the fall, and you call it something that's adventurous, and a kid will love to do it. If you just say you want to go for a walk, that's not really sounds all that fun. But if you say, let's see how many different color leaves we can find, and then they're engaged in that, and they don't even realize that they're walking. Or if you have pets that you can take out, you know, even if it's a mouse that they put in their backpack that they think they're taking the mouse for a walk, whatever it is. I mean, there's always ways that you can get kids to think that it's more of an adventure, whether it's for their pet or for a treasure hunt or something else, that it doesn't have to just, you just aren't going to get a kid on a treadmill.
Right, yeah.
It's not going to happen, and it's not going to be fun, and that's really not what it's meant to be. You really want to make it play.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of that while you were talking, is that there's so many opportunities to play in Montana.
Absolutely.
And we have so many walking trails in the town. We're famous for our bicycle and walking trails just outside of town, and all the lakes and everything we have here. Get out and play, right?
Get out and play, yes. And even if you live in town, you can do things. Sometimes I'll encourage parents to say every day, if you live within walking distance of a grocery store, you know, within 6 to 8 blocks maybe, every day let's walk to the grocery store and pick out a new fruit or a new vegetable. So again, it's more of a treasure hunt type process than, so they're getting the walk in, but they're also, you know, kind of getting to try a new piece of fruit or a new vegetable or something like that. So you just kind of, you can combine the two into one.
And I think as you're talking about that, is while you're walking, you're talking. So you're getting to know your kids, and you're getting to know your parents. You're sharing family time, and you might learn something from the kids, or vice versa.
Yes, yes, very true.
So get out and play. Well, Orlinda, let's talk a little bit more about the event that's coming up Saturday, August 8th, the Family Fun Fest. And there'll be nutrition side there, but there's also the exercise component to all this too, right?
Well, right. Of course, the fun run, and we do encourage kids to run, but we certainly they can walk as well. So to find out that, you know, sometimes a lot more fun in a group to do something, or with your family. So we encourage them to do that, the little 1 mile fun run or walk. And I think I mentioned the obstacle course. As Jennifer said, if you can make something a game or make it fun, you know, it encourages kids, and that's probably something you could even get an idea to set up in your own backyard. And I think Jennifer mentioned about, you know, brushing your teeth. It's like when kids are little, you kind of have to force them sometimes, get in there, brush your teeth. And I think
then it becomes habit.
It becomes habit.
Correct.
So same thing, the Family Fun Fest is really to stress the idea that, yeah, you may have to force your kids, let's take a fun walk or do some jump rope or something. But once you get that going and they get it established as a habit, that it's a lot easier to keep that going, I think, throughout their life, as opposed to trying to start it, you know, when you're older and haven't done any exercise. And a lot of people just think, oh, exercise is just jumping jacks or push-ups. But as Jennifer mentioned, there's a lot of fun ways you can do it. So we hope to show some of that at the Family Fun Fest as well. And then, of course, have health information on, you know, various things for parents to pick up. And organizations from the community, too, will be there, not just St. Peter's. So.
Oh, yeah, so a lot of them. Well, you know, you mentioned Centennial Park, and I've been taking my Poochie to the dog park.
Oh, sure.
And I noticed there they've got like a climbing wall. They've got lots of playground equipment. They have a bicycle pump and jump thing. They got a skateboard area, and they've got an exercise route where they've got places you can do different exercises along the way.
Yeah.
And then the baseball fields. And it's like, wow, that is really a center. Well, they got Memorial Park there with the playground equipment, with the big baseball field and the swimming pool. And it's like, that's a nice facility that we've developed.
There's a lot available in Helena.
Yeah,
really nice.
And not a lot of excuses. You know, it's certainly great to join a club, you know, with a membership, but you don't have to spend any money. Definitely in the spring, summer, and fall in Montana, your own backyard, the parks, as you mentioned, you know, any just fun activities you can think of to get your kids outside.
Yeah, get out and do it.
Bike and walk.
And even in the winter, there's lots of things you can do that are creative too for physical activity, because I get that excuse a lot when I'm working with people, is the winter and the weather and it's too cold for my children, and it really is not for the most part unless it's 20 below. But there's a lot of things you can do inside. We encourage people to do like balloon volleyball. It's something that's not going to damage, you know, furniture, so it's not a ball, and and you can keep your kids busy with that for hours, and you can create different things like how many times can you hit the ball or the balloon up in the air, how many times can you pass it back and forth. So if you keep creating little games to it, they will stay involved. You can do sock bowling. I mean, there's things you can do that don't damage the whole house. And I had boys growing up, so it was, you know, they needed to stay busy. But there's things that can be done in the winter too. It doesn't always have to be outside, because we are forced inside sometimes. But again, you bundle up, you dress appropriately, and kids can still go outside to play.
You know, with the fire season coming up, you might want to watch Smoke in the Air too. But Jennifer, you know, I was thinking that, well, one time I had one of these sugar drinks, and I could have about 2 gulps of it, and it was just so sugary. And I see kids with these huge drinks that. What does the nutritionist have to say about them? Yay or nay?
I would say nay. It's probably one of my least favorite food items, if you can call it that, is soda pop and sweetened beverages. And it's very important for parents not to introduce those kind of drinks to their children really young, because kids get used to wanting to have something sweet every time they drink. We just get used to that kind of thing, but even when they're making oatmeal for their babies, it's like, do not put sugar in the oatmeal. We think that they have to have that, but they have no idea that sugar would go in oatmeal, so they like it plain. So the more you can put off introducing them to sweet things like that, other than just natural sweetness in some of our vegetables like sweet potatoes and things like that, and some of the fruits they might give them. But just water to drink in between meals, milk to drink with meals is really what's ideal. And as they get older, they're going to be exposed to sweetened beverages. And my recommendation is to save those for really special events, like if they're at a 4th of July picnic and everybody gets a soda or something like that. That's fun and that's normal eating. But a Tuesday afternoon after school is not anything special, so they really shouldn't be drinking sweetened beverages of any kind. And some of them can be kind of dangerous if there are energy drinks that have caffeine in them and stimulants and other things. Sometimes I see parents giving their young kids just Red Bulls and things that are really not appropriate at all for young kids.
Well, imagine a wound-up kid like that is punishment alone.
Yeah, that's true. Punishment for the parents.
Now, Jennifer, let's talk about there's new fat rulings that are coming out. And as a nutritionist, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's great. The Food and Drug Administration just did a ruling last week that they are planning to ban all trans fats from our food supply over the next 3 years. So food manufacturers are going to have to find a different type of fat replacement in their food products. And so trans fats are just a hydrogenated oil. So they take a liquid oil and they add hydrogen molecules to that to create a solid fat, like shortening or margarine, those kind of products. And then, of course, those are used to deep fry foods and to make snack cakes and cookies and things like that. So they're not really foods we recommend people to eat anyway, but there are better options if they aren't using those trans
not a
fats.
part of the
so
system,
over the next few years, those will hopefully be completely eliminated from our food supply.
Okay. So as a nutritionist, I always see these things that say, here's a balanced plate, and what the certain food groups are. Can you just go over those quickly so we understand what good food is?
You bet. General rule of thumb, if a quarter of your plate is protein, so that could be meat, eggs, nuts, cheese. A quarter of your plate is a starch. That could be potatoes, rice, pasta or bread, and then the other half of the plate just loaded with produce. So your fruits, your vegetables, and any combination that you can get from those. And if you ate every meal that way, you would be getting all the nutrients you need, the fiber, the vitamins, the minerals. It's a very balanced way of eating.
Okay, that's great. And if anybody would like to talk to you, for children, it has to have a prescription from a doctor.
Correct.
But through stpetes.org, the website, you can get more information, contact you
Absolutely.
as needed.
And I will be at the Family Fun Fest, and I can answer any questions that you may have down there on nutrition as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Orlinda, let's go over the Family Fun Fest again. We're down to a close on the show.
All right.
Recap it for us.
The basic facts, it's Saturday, August 8th. It all starts down in the park behind the YMCA, but you want to register your runners by July 30th at stpetes.org. That way you get a free t-shirt and no problems there. You can certainly sign up the day of the race, but we may not have a t-shirt for you, so make sure you do that. You can check the website. There's a big symbol right there you click on that says Family Fun Fest, and it'll give you all the good information and of course the number to call if you have any questions. So we hope to have everybody come out. It's really a very fun event.
Well, Orlinda, I know there's a wealth of information at that website too. If you have different issues or topics, you've done the research, it's there. That's a good place to start. Then maybe take that information and talk to your family physician if you'd want to continue it further.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you both for being on the Pulse of St. Pete's. Very informative, and it's a wonderful program, and nutrition and exercise is so important, and thanks for bringing these programs to the community.
You're going to be running, right?
Yeah.
I wish I'd sneak in under the 18. I'm afraid they'd card.
We'll let you.
Okay. Thank you. And for our viewers, again, coming up on Saturday, August 8th, is a family fun fest, and it's going to start with a run at Centennial Park about 9 in the morning. It's a 1 mile run, not a runner's run, but it's a lot of fun for children. And then they have some education at the Great Northern. It'll be a great time. Hope to see you there. Thanks for joining us.